This is Bitsy Tulloch, and you are listening to Superman and Lois and Pals.
Greetings, super friends. Welcome back to Superman and Lois and Pals. I'm Henry Bernstein, and alongside me is my favorite super pal, Professor Sam Brody. Let's talk about Superman and Lois Season 4, Episode 2, A World Without. Directed by Sudz Sutherland, written by Katie Aldrin and Kristi Korzek, the other dream team of this writing staff and directing staff. The Apple TV and IMDb description is Lana and Sarah join the fight against Luthor, who start making moves in Smallville. Jordan and Jonathan butt heads over an important decision. The title, A World Without, this is a reference to the comics, A World Without Superman, which really was sort of the whole marketing thing around the 10 issues or so after the death of Superman, really a full year of funeral for a friend and then the reign of the Superman. And for me, when I go back to the comics to reread Death of Superman stuff, I sometimes will just kind of flip through the death of those few issues, but they kind of upset me all over again because I don't want Superman to die. And I'm more interested in like the Lois Lane human interaction stuff. So I actually go back and I read Funeral for a Friend more often than I do the actual Death of Superman. And so I really like that little reference in the title.
Yeah, I mean, I think I already said it when we were talking about episode one, but that showing the sort of hole in the world that is left by the character's absence is like a good way of telling a story about a character.
Yeah, and we'll see. I guess we'll see more of that maybe in episode 3. I mean, this one was obviously Smallville based. I gotta say, it's very nice to see Lana and Sarah,
Mhm.
because we know they're only going to be in a couple episodes, and very sweet of Lana to get everyone away by saying, "But Superman is Lois's friend, her good friend." I'm sorry. That was just so cheesy. And I know over the last 3 years I've beat up on on this character and this actor, but I mean, what? Huh? Superman? Oh, it's Superman's friend. I mean, this woman and her children are crying in the streets. I'm supposed to think that, like, okay, I'll get away because it's her friend. I don't know. Did that bother you?
It was a little cheesy, I agree. I mean, and especially like they went out of their way to show later on in the episode that it didn't work
Yes.
on like the main guy who was listening,
Right.
right? He was just like, good friend. Oh, wait, that's Clark Kent. Like, like, so, I mean, I don't know what the point of that really was, but like the fact that it was in Smallville rather than in Metropolis is the only thing that even made that possible. That is like
Right.
the
Right.
mayor telling you to, but she could have just been like, everybody stay back until the police get here or something like
Yes.
that, right?
She is the
Um,
mayor. Like they
right.
didn't mention that till like 15 minutes into the episode. Like I'd forgotten already that she was the mayor. It's been a year and a half since we've seen these guys.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like you're the mayor of Smallville. Just say clear the way. We need to get medical, whatever it is.
But then it would have been weird to make a special exception for the people who are already there.
She could have gone over there and talked to them in an official way and whatever. It's sure. It was just they could have done a little better than Superman is Lois's friend, her good friend. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. They're good friends.
hmm In
Like,
that case, I won't go be a looky-loo.
yeah, I won't go look at the world's greatest hero for the past 20 years dead in my small town. Still no one seems to be, wondering why Superman seems to show up around this small town a lot, but okay.
All of the people in like Lincoln, Nebraska must be like, what the hell? Why did you
Right.
ever come here? You know?
Right. Right. And and I appreciate what they were doing. And there was some good when she wasn't speaking, there was actually some really good acting there that showing how painful this was for Lana because she knew and loved Clark first, right? He
hmm
he told her his identity also. And I just wished it had been done a little better. It was just some sort of bad TV writing for a moment.
Yeah.
And the heart thing, taking Superman's heart away, seemed to sort of drive the plot of this episode. This wasn't a filler episode, but it was sort of like a Ocean's 11 heist, two fronts episode. One boy here, one boy there,
Mhm.
and I don't know. In the end, with Lex Luthor just crushing the heart in the end, it all just seemed sort of pointless. And I mean, it got me guessing. I didn't expect it, but I don't know. This episode for me didn't have the emotional weight of that first episode.
Well, here's a question for you. Do you think that was really Superman's heart that he crushed? Because why should it be crushable? Why shouldn't it be invulnerable to someone of less than Doomsday level strength?
Well, is Superman's body indestructible upon death?
I don't know. I sort of thought there was a switcheroo that he just did that for Jordan's benefit to like make him feel hopelessness, but that he
Hmm.
didn't actually like he has it somewhere more private than that.
So you think Lex could still have it,
Yeah, I think
possibly?
he still has it. And the other, because also, you know, his interesting, I mean, assuming that this version of the character is like others that we've seen, but maybe it's not. But Lex Luthor always has an interest in cloning, so
Yeah.
he would want to keep that heart.
Yeah. I mean, he
Um,
he manipulated
Bizarro.
Bizarro. Yeah.
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 And then the last thing that I wondered is like, what if Superman got a heart transplant from like a human being? Would it work?
Hmm.
Like, you know, then there would be a nice big metaphor about how he has a human heart, blah blah
Hmm.
blah.
Like John Henry dies in battle and
Something like
gives him
that.
his heart, something like that.
Yeah. Or Sam Lane, should
Hmm.
something happen to him
Hmm.
later in the season.
Sam Lane, who's this guy's got 9 lives.
Hmm.
He gets beat up, maybe shot, buried alive last episode.
I
And
did appreciate that like Luther tried to just be like, just shoot him. Like
Mhm.
even though it didn't work, right? Like the continual failure of the
of his hedge people. I know.
professional assassins to
Yeah.
just like do their job.
Yeah, I mean, like, when is a Lex Luthor? All the Lex Luthors in the multiverse should meet and be like, all right, if your henchman is named Otis, you're doing something wrong. You're not going to get the job done. So the first time around, I watched the episode twice. The first time around, I had missed that Lara put Clark in a suspended animation.
Mm,
And they even said, I think Jordan even said to Lois, he's in an alter state of existence. And at first I
mm.
thought, well, what did you think that first meant?
Like a pocket dimension.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was Phantom Zone because we've seen in the past when someone's near death, they go to the Phantom Zone or something, to save them.
The Phantom Zone can be like a pocket dimension.
I guess, yeah, that's true. But remember, he said something interesting. He said it's how Dad made it to Earth in his pod.
Hmm.
So he was in some sort of, and we've seen that in the comics that, in the John Byrne run, he sort of grew as a baby in the pod, and there are other things where he's in sort of a suspended sleep thing and taking in information. So that was kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know what that means. He doesn't have a heart. So what will suspended animation do?
I sort of imagined that it will like prevent decay. Like
Mhm.
he
So if
won't.
they can get his heart back, maybe Lara could do something.
Yeah.
Interesting. The Jordan in his goggles from Superman American Alien, I can't. I mean, you're showing up to Lex Luthor's house, threatening him with your same voice, and he can see the bottom half of your face. I know we're in a world where people can't tell the difference between a guy in glasses and not, but we know there's more to it. But that was just, of course, Lex Luthor figured out that Jordan was Superboy and that therefore Superman is Clark Kent. I mean,
I
come on.
mean, everybody owns masks now. Just put the mask on the bottom half of your face. There's no reason for it to be showing.
I mean, your sweet boy, boyish, not capable of facial hair face. You're obviously Jordan Lane or Jordan Kent.
Hmm.
That I just
Yeah.
I couldn't with that. I was like, come on, Jordan. Really?
Also, his behavior. Everyone is constantly telling him, don't fall into this trap. And he's like, I'm going to. You can't tell me what to do. I'm going to go fall into this trap. And like, It's kind of annoying.
It's a little annoying as we've grown with this character, or we've seen this character grow over the last 3, 4 years. He's grown on me. I'm glad he's not broody, messed up teen anymore. I get that the emotion of your superhero father dying is very intense and you want to do anything you can to help him, and you have these powers, which, by the way, seem to have just completely manifested in full force. Like he's
Hmm.
got them all now. I He's got to take some advice. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like we know. Oh, and not only was I annoyed that he didn't listen to Jonathan, he was like, "You just found out, like you just told him that you were looking for Superman's heart, and then now you're hearing it." Like, I appreciated that they let Jonathan see that,
Yeah.
but like also think for 2 seconds, like why even reveal to him that that's what you're looking for? Like, why even make him think that should he lose possession of that, it could lead to bringing Superman back to life. Like, just like go look for it and don't tell him that you're
Right.
looking for it. Like,
Right.
that's way too many cards to show off the bat. And I was just like, be quiet, man. Zip your
Like
lips.
he moved in across the street. Take the W and go. Like you've already got a decent plan of distracting him over here. I mean, not that it's a great plan distracting Luthor over a diner steak, but okay, with your girlfriend. But okay, go help Jonathan and then go do the or whatever. Like
He
have
doesn't even need to help Jonathan. He can go float
and
behind the
use his
house
X-ray
and use
vision.
his X-ray
Yeah,
vision.
yes, yeah, yeah. So I'm glad you were also kind of annoyed by that because that really I was just like that's the kind of stuff that makes it feel like a filler episode where they just needed sort of a plot for these kids for something to do.
I get that
But
he's like really angry and he's not thinking straight, but like if your brother can think straight enough to tell you it's a trap, and also your mother was like, don't go anywhere. So that's like two reasons to not do anything. I don't know. It's just,
can you please just listen to your mom
yeah,
when your father is dead and not buried yet? Like
yeah.
just for once. There's one other thing that I kind of wish they did. So they're trying to show like a cool, I don't know, father son flashback sort of thing where Jordan is standing up to the kryptonite onslaught like his father was, and they
Hmm.
flash back to Superman doing the same thing. I wish that they would have done that thing where he actually was successful in that moment because maybe kryptonite doesn't affect his half humanness the same way as Clark's. Like I
Hmm.
think maybe I'm not remembering this right. I'm behind on the comics, but I think that John Kent in the comics, I think that because he is half human, he that actually gives him some advantages. I feel like I saw that in the comics. Does that ring a bell at all?
Fortunately, I cannot remember. I'm
Okay.
kind of behind though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an encyclopedic memory of the more recent stuff. By the way, kudos to you on remembering the Leviathan thing. I would not have been able to pull that name out of. So good job there. But I don't know. I just thought that would have been a cool thing if, like, instead of it just being the exact same thing as his father, maybe he got through all those guys, and then Luthor was the one who stopped him in the end instead of the kryptonite. Whatever.
Hmm.
These are nitpicky. This is like, I guess, my turn to be a little nitpicky. So Jor-El Clark, what did you think about that at the end?
That was new. That was kind
Yeah.
of cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I liked that they even did Lara, right?
Hmm.
So like if they thought of that, then it's very cool that they would give Clark one. And then
And
I
it makes
also
sense that he would record that and whatever like Kryptonian AI they have, where it's like his soul slash a computer generated thing, whatever it is. I like that Clark, did that for the family.
I also like though that like the reactions, especially the actor playing Jonathan, made clear how insufficient it is. Because like it's never quite spelled out how good these programs are.
Right.
But like if it's perfect, then it's like a Black Mirror episode. Because then it's like, why are you just leaving your father alone in this fortress in the Antarctic all the time and not hanging out with him?
Right.
Right? It's depressing,
Right.
right? So like there has to be some level at which it's just like a trick, right? And not a soul.
Right.
And even if the only way of conveying that is by like showing the disappointment of the family members to some degree,
Hmm.
I want that to be shown because otherwise I feel weird about the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think again, like we talked about a sliding scale of kryptonite effectiveness, a sliding scale of powers. I think there's a sliding scale here of is it a soul? Is it a computer program that's highly advanced? And you're right, like it would be weird both to leave Clark alone in the fortress, although he's got his mom. Like do the holograms talk to each other? Like is Clark finally getting to catch up with his mom now that he's there?
But like if again, it's the same problem. Like if his mom is really there, he should be spending way more time at the fortress
Right.
because
Right.
his
You
mom
never
is
met them.
there. Right. Like
Yeah.
there has to be some point at which the program is like, I'm sorry, I don't have that information. Like,
Hmm.
otherwise it feels wrong to me. It feels like necromancy and
Hmm.
then like turns the living characters into assholes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, so there's only 10 episodes total as far as we know. So like you said, there's eight left. No, we don't like to speculate. However, how would you, if you were given the keys, how would you envision doing a tasteful return of Superman? Like, does this go on the whole season and he's back and with flashbacks and stuff and he's back in the season finale? Do you do John Henry Irons, Superboy, get a little Brainiac in there. Maybe Morgan Edge comes back as like a
Mhm.
Eradicator type. Something. Do you do that for like an episode? Like, how do you do it where it doesn't seem forced and cramped, seems appropriate, but we get our Superman back?
Yeah, that's a good idea, the Eradicator one you just had. Then you can have the
Thanks.
dynamic where there are different people trying to do Superman's job. I think you would definitely see Jordan being like, this is my like vocation in life. I have to do this. And I could see John Henry being like, you're in the way, you're not doing it right. Like leave it
Yeah.
to someone who knows what they're doing.
Right.
And then I could see, I forget his Kryptonian name, but Morgan Edge
Right.
being like, oh, you guys don't understand. You just have to like kill these people. Um,
Right.
and like all of that sort of you could do that in one episode. Like it would not be bad as a story for one
Okay.
episode.
Do you
The
do you
question,
do a cyborg type thing?
I think you don't have the space for that. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, unless,
Like, does
uh,
Superman's AI from the Fortress do something? I mean,
well, one thought I had is that if Luthor still has the heart, then he can try
mm,
to make a clone that actually works for him.
mm,
And then he can ruin Superman's reputation by being like, "Oh, why don't you just like blow up some buildings or something, like, and
hmm.
make everybody hate you?"
We do know like Tyler Hoechlin likes playing evil Superman. He's done it pretty well a few times. So
So
yeah.
then that could be the cyborg. The cyborg
Hmm.
Superman could be the villain of that episode with the other three characters,
Hmm.
and you could do it all in one. But
You
you would
think you
have
can do
to,
that in one?
well, because you don't really have time to keep foreshadowing the appearance of the Superman clone in 8 episodes. Like maybe
Right.
you could foreshadow it 1 or 2 episodes with like a stinger or whatever they call them at the end of the episode, and then like he shows up in episode 5 and does some damage, and then in episode 6 they get him.
Do you think they're going to get into explaining Clark's disappearance? Like what, like how do you do that? Because that was sort of one of they sort of built in the comics an easy out. Doomsday destroyed the city, so all these people were missing. Easy.
Right. Hmm.
So I don't know how you do
Well,
that.
Clark has not exactly been Mr. Public in
Right,
this
right.
show, right? He left Metropolis where he had a very prominent job, and he's gone off to live in his hometown that nobody cares about.
To be a football coach. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Part-time
So
football coach.
how many people even notice he's gone,
Hmm.
really? Definitely the immediate people in the surroundings need some sort of explanation.
Hmm.
Um,
Everyone in their immediate surroundings knows the secret, including
right.
Lex
Yeah.
Luthor. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess the question is there's sort of this fear is Lex Luthor going to out the Kent Lanes,
It
you know?
might be that like they don't even care that much because they think he's dead.
Hmm.
Right. But the
Because
only
that's
problem,
sort of Lex's hubris.
right. But the problem is then that Jordan's identity is also exposed.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
It is exciting to talk about this and to talk about the ideas that could happen. And I'm sorry that we won't be able to do it for years and years to come, but at least for the next 8 weeks, the next 2 months, and I don't know how, maybe they drag that out a bit because of the way TV works. I don't
I'm
know.
sorry there's no Supergirl and no Martian Manhunter in this universe after all, because then they could have done the Superman and Clark Kent with their arms around each
I
other
know.
at the end of the story,
I
which I really liked.
I love that. Yes. Yeah, Matrix Supergirl does the shape shifting so that she can have Clark and Lois and Superman all in one picture together.
But if
Yeah.
they had CW Supergirl still in
Right.
this universe, then they could just have CW Martian Manhunter do the same thing.
Right. I read some things that like the finale is huge and amazing, and that they do honor the CW Berlanti verse in some way. So we might see Melissa Benoist one last time somehow. I don't know. But anyway, anything else about this episode? I think we said it all.
I don't think so. I'll say that, I mean, I'll repeat something you said earlier that I thought they did a good job of having Lana and Sarah appear and not having it feel like a very special appearance. Like it
Hmm.
felt normal. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
we
Same
didn't
with
see them.
Sam in
Right.
the first
We
one. Yeah.
didn't, we didn't see them in the first one, but now they're here, and I'm sure it feels like we'll see them again, and they'll keep being there, even if it's not every episode. So, like, I really like when they do that successfully. So
Mhm.
I would give them kudos on that.
Yeah, the only type of like shows where they do that successfully are like prestige, no commercial shows, where like
Hmm.
a character comes back and you're like, oh, see, where it's not like special guest star, da, 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 they just, yeah. And this episode, the show picked up right where it was sort of dependent on the fans knowing what happened. I mean, they did it previously on Superman and Lois, but it was right. They picked up right where they left off. One thing about that, by the way, this is one of my biggest pet peeves in TV timelines is that seasons don't necessarily reflect years. So the biggest example of this is Friends. So Friends is 10 seasons. However, every single season finale is a cliffhanger that picks up moments later. So at no point are they they're never like on TV, how was your summer? Great. And this show too like seems to pick up right where they left off. I think they've had like one time where the boys got to another grade. So I don't
Well,
know how that works.
what was annoying on old shows is that they used to do Christmas episodes and Halloween episodes so that you knew it was like a new year because they were
Right.
having another Halloween now.
Right.
Even if they did what you just said, where like it picked up in September, starting right from what happened in June.
Right.
So then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now it's fall.
Now it's
Like,
fall, right.
yeah.
But it's like, but you skipped June, July, and August.
Right. The only shows that were able to avoid that, I think, were like school-based shows, like Felicity. Freshmen, now they're
Right.
sophomores, now they're juniors, and like so it's very
Right.
clear. And on those shows, they did say like, "How was your summer?"
Yeah, school-based show is fine. I'll give that. But this should be a school-ish based show. I mean, the boys
Those
haven't.
kids, they have not been to school for like years.
They're not. They closed down that set. They're like, guys, we're not even gonna go this season.
Mhm.
Oh man. All right. Well, thank you, Sam. This was great.
Thank you, Henry. Looking
Looking
forward
forward to
to
doing it
next
again.
week. Yeah.
Yep. Bye. Thanks for listening. Our theme was composed and performed by Sam Bernstein. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another thrilling adventure of Superman and Lois and Pals.
This is Bitsy Tulloch, and you are listening to Superman and Lois and Pals.